Hi again, my name is Kato Chamilo. I'm part of the Community Building and Outreach Center, or CBOC, within the FDA Sentinel Initiative. There are two additional centers within the Sentinel Initiative, Sentinel Operations Center and the Sentinel Innovation Center. The FDA launched the Sentinel Initiative in 2007 in response to the Food and Drug Administration Amendments Act to develop a post-market risk identification and analysis system. CBOC has developed a webinar series in order to increase awareness and understanding of Sentinel. The webinar today is part of a series of engagement strategies that are outlined in the CBOC Master Plan. The Sentinel website is a principal means to communicate with stakeholders and share information with the public, including information about ongoing and completed drug safety assessments, new Sentinel methods, tools, and infrastructure, along with upcoming and past events, including meetings, workshops, and trainings. In May of 2021, we completed a year-long redesign of the Sentinel website. The objective of today's webinar is to provide an orientation to the redesigned website and to demonstrate how to navigate the site to find information and resources. Today's webinar target audience are health advocates, as they were found through Sentinel stakeholder interviews conducted by CBOC to have high interest in increasing their awareness of the Sentinel Initiative. The goal of the webinar is for you all to have a better understanding of the Sentinel Initiative and demonstrate how to use the Sentinel website. As I mentioned, my name is Kato Chamilo, and I will be the host of the webinar today. Joining me on the call, we have Kay Corey and Trish Bright from the FDA, Christine Halbig from the Sentinel Operations Center, and we have additional representatives from CBOC, Evie Kai, and Saida Mabub. The purpose of the webinar is for CBOC to guide health advocates on how to navigate the Sentinel website to find information and resources relating to studies on the use of medical products and their impact conducted in Sentinel. The webinar in total will be 1 hour in duration. We have 3 objectives we aim to cover today. 1, learn about the Sentinel system and its components. 2, learn how Sentinel uses health data while protecting privacy. And 3, view a website demonstration on how to use the Sentinel website as a health advocate. Before we begin, a reminder that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please write them in the Q&A box below. We have time to cover questions and answers at the end of the webinar. Throughout the webinar, we have a Sentinel fact versus myth through Zoom pop-up poll questions to test your knowledge and understanding. Let's discuss how Sentinel can benefit health advocates. We know they are often referred to as patient advocates. Health advocates are those who are concerned with advocacy for patients and who seek healthcare information to better understand, educate, and empower individuals to make well-informed healthcare decisions. So why focus on health advocates? Sentinel seeks to expand awareness of its capabilities and resource among health advocate communities. The Sentinel website is a key means for communicating with the public and enhancing engagement with Sentinel stakeholders. Before moving on, we want to emphasize that while the Sentinel system generates information that contributes to FDA's understanding of the use and safety of medical products, information on overall risk and benefits of medical products is provided on the FDA website at www.fda.gov. Now, let's discuss the first learning objective of the webinar. What is the Sentinel system? The Sentinel system is FDA's medical product active safety surveillance system. It can be used to assess the use, safety, and effectiveness of medical products. To support these surveillance activities, Sentinel also works to develop new data, infrastructure, and methodological capabilities. Sentinel has several key components: distributed data network of data partners, electronic healthcare information, common data model, routine querying tools, and advanced quality assurance processes. Sentinel is capable of addressing a variety of public health surveillance needs, which may be of interest to the health advocate community. Questions that can be answered in Sentinel are: drug utilization patterns, switching patterns between drugs, adherence to safe use recommendations, drug utilization in pregnancy, evaluating drug exposure and safety outcomes, and using interrupted time series methods to examine FDA actions on changes in drug utilization. Now that we've highlighted the Sentinel system's key components, let's discuss how analyses are generated in Sentinel. Sentinel gets its data through the Sentinel Distributed Database, which is a collection of harmonized datasets in the Sentinel Common Data Model format from different data partners. Data partners are comprised of healthcare organizations that have medical billing information and electronic health records. The size of the Sentinel Distributed Database has grown over time. Currently, Sentinel has 360.2 million unique patient identifiers spanning the 2000 to 2021 time period. The graphic displayed on the right side illustrates the data querying process. First, the FDA has a question regarding the use, safety, or effectiveness of a medical product that can be studied in Sentinel. Then, FDA works with a team at the Sentinel Operations Center, or SOC, to design the query. SOC, through a secure data transfer, sends a data query request to data partners. During this process, data partners remove or mask directly identifiable patient information, maintaining privacy and data security, and sends query results to SOC. SOC aggregates the results from each data partner and sends them to the FDA. The standardized data format enables Sentinel to execute routine querying tools, enabling FDA to conduct studies efficiently compared to writing and executing new programs for each new study. Sentinel's routine querying tools, which are standardized programs that allow users to identify potential medical product safety concerns, characterize populations of interest, characterize the use of medical products, and perform epidemiologic analyses to assess the impact of medical products on health outcomes. Okay, it's time for our first fact versus myth. So everyone get ready. Sentinel has 100 million unique patient identifiers spanning the period 2000 to 2021. Is this a fact or a myth? We'll give everyone a few seconds. It is a myth. Sentinel has 360.2 million unique patient identifiers spanning the period of 2000 to 2021. Now that we've discussed how Sentinel gets its health data and how a data query is executed, let's review how patient data is generated in Sentinel from patient interactions in the healthcare system. The Sentinel Distributed Database has quality check data from a variety of sources. Here is an illustration of a patient's interaction in the healthcare system. Records of those interactions are held by the patient's insurers and providers. For example, the fictitious patient shown here is a male enrolled in a health plan. He's experienced several medical encounters between 2017 and 2019. The following information from the patient's medical encounter appear in Sentinel data: diagnosis, procedures, prescription information. The information is captured across the settings where healthcare is received. This comprehensive data is what makes it possible for FDA to study the use, safety, and effectiveness of drugs and other medical products. Let's say, for example, the FDA were interested in studying a drug safety question among new or incident users of antihypertensive drugs. This patient's health record indicates that in December 2018, he was dispensed a prescription for an antihypertensive drug. This patient's health information prior to December 2018 could be assessed for evidence of prior antihypertensive drug dispensing to determine if he may be eligible to be included in the study of population of new antihypertensive drug users. As a health advocate, you will be able to view publications and presentations related to the drug safety questions that are studied in Sentinel. We will go over this in more details during the Sentinel website demonstration shortly. Now, let's review how health data is protected in Sentinel. Now that we've covered how health data is generated and analyzed, it is important to review how health data are protected in the Sentinel system. As we described in the prior slides, the healthcare data that is collected from routine patient healthcare encounters by data partners can be used to address FDA's medical product safety questions. Sentinel protects health data by adhering to FISMA compliant, which stands for Federal Information Security Management Act, Secure Network Portal, which requires many security policies and procedures. Data partners receive a data program or a query, review, and run that program on their local data behind their firewalls. Data partners then review results for accuracy and privacy compliance, and then send de-identified results to the Sentinel Operations Center through the secure portal. SOC aggregates the results from each data partner and sends them to the FDA. This approach maintains privacy and security, which is foundational to the Sentinel system. Okay, it's time for our second fact versus myth. To maintain privacy and security, the Sentinel system is comprised of healthcare organizations known as data partners who maintain control of their own data and controls who can access it. Is this a fact or a myth? Correct, it is a fact. All data partners maintain their own billing and other electronic healthcare data. SOC shares aggregated results with the FDA. We did pretty good there. Now that we've covered what the Sentinel system is and how Sentinel protects health data, we will now show through a website demonstration video how health advocates can use the Sentinel website to search for publications, presentations, drug assessments, and related FDA regulatory actions or discussions.
The objective of this demonstration is to show health advocates how to leverage Sentinel's publicly available resources on the Sentinel website to find existing information and resources relating to Sentinel's assessments of the use, safety, and effectiveness of medical products. To begin the Sentinel website demonstration, let's go over how to access the Sentinel website. First, type in sentinelinitiative.org into the space for a URL. Before we dive in, let's start with a general overview of the Sentinel homepage. There are tabs on the left-hand side that provide quick shortcuts to selected topics. You can select and change via the drop-down menu under Learn More About to find How Sentinel Works, which highlights pages from the About section, Outcomes and Results, Data and Tools, which highlights pages from the Assessments and Methods, Data and Tools sections, and What's Happening with Sentinel, which highlights pages from the News and Events and Assessment sections. Across the navigation bar are 5 tabs. If you hover over each tab, additional links will appear to pages relevant to the category specified in each tab. Let's go over the 5 top-level categories. About provides key overview information, including internal and external components of the Sentinel system. Assessments includes all Sentinel assessments and individual drug queries organized according to the medical product type that was studied. Notice that there is a tab dedicated to Sentinel's COVID-19 activities as well. Methods, Data, and Tools describe Sentinel methods activities, the Sentinel Common Data Model, and the publicly available programs or tools that are used in Sentinel to support the evaluation of medical product safety. Note that this section also contains a tab dedicated to select health outcomes of interest analyses that have been conducted by the FDA. News and Events displays the latest Sentinel activities, including workshops, meetings, and trainings, identifies FDA drug safety communications and labeling changes where Sentinel studies have contributed, and also shows Sentinel-related publications and presentations. Engage with Sentinel provides ways to learn more about Sentinel through the Training Center tab, as well as information about recent Sentinel developments through the quarterly newsletter, along with links to contact Sentinel for a variety of needs. Now that we've quickly gone through the homepage navigation, Next, we'll review the website's recently redesigned search capabilities. This new search feature is an embedded Google search engine which makes searching for resources on the website easier with enhanced search capabilities. You can use Boolean operators such as and, but, or, in combination with keywords in the search bar when looking for something specific. For example, you can search workshops, and the first result will be the latest workshop that just occurred. Scrolling down, we see that the most recent workshop was the 13th Annual Sentinel Initiative Public Workshop. If you're looking for a specific workshop, you can type in workshop and maternal health, and you will find the latest maternal health workshop. Scrolling down, we can see the latest maternal health workshops featured on the Sentinel website. Now we will return to the home page and go through each of the tabs in the navigation bar in further detail. The About tab provides key information about Sentinel and is divided into the following sections. Who is involved provides information about FDA Sentinel leadership, as well as Sentinel's data partners and collaborating institutions. Sentinel's structure contains dedicated tabs for each of the 3 centers within the Sentinel Initiative, which are the Community Building and Outreach Center, Sentinel Innovation Center, and Sentinel Operations Center. Their acronyms are CBOC, IC, and SOC. Engaging Sentinel stakeholders provides information about efforts undertaken by Sentinel to expand engagement across multiple partners. How Sentinel gets its data outlines how the Sentinel system gathers and organizes its data and how the Sentinel Operations Center performs its data quality review process in conjunction with its data partners. Sentinel Key Database Statistics provides the most up-to-date statistics on the Sentinel Distributed Database, member enrollment, growth of the Sentinel Distributed Database, and other key metrics. How Sentinel protects privacy and security reviews the multiple steps and layers that Sentinel takes to maintain privacy with patient data and data security in the Sentinel system. Lastly, Sentinel's principles and policies were created to govern the operations, analyses, data retention, and other elements of the Sentinel system. Now we will cover the Assessments tab. On the Assessments tab, you'll be able to view the assessments Sentinel is conducting across FDA centers. This includes drugs, which fall under the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, or CDER, vaccines, blood, and biologics, which fall under the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, or CBER, and devices and radiological health, which fall under the Center for Devices and Radiological Health, CDRH. Now we will explore the Drug Assessments tab. The FDA poses to the Sentinel system questions related to the use, safety, or effectiveness of a drug and related questions about diseases or outcomes, including background rates. These questions are often referred as drug assessments. Drug assessments can vary in their complexity. Some may be addressed in a single query or analysis, whereas others may take multiple analyses to address. Next, we will scroll down to the Drug Assessments table in the Drug Assessments tab. Health advocates can use this table when they are interested in learning about a particular drug or population of interest or a particular health outcome. Individuals can use this table to understand what drug assessments are ongoing or completed and to find information about the impacts associated with a given assessment. Let's go over the drug assessment table in further detail. The first column in the table is drug/population, which represents the drug of interest in most cases, but can also represent a particular population of interest in certain cases. The health outcomes column identifies the clinical event of interest, usually defined as a diagnosis, treatment, or procedure codes. The impacts posted column summarizes what materials have been made publicly available as a part of the drug assessment. This can include statistical programs, results reports, communications, such as related presentations or publications, and any regulatory outcomes such as drug safety communications or labeling changes that were informed by the Sentinel assessment. The final column in the table, last updated, shows the latest state changes were made to an associated drug assessment. Let's explore the filter button. The status button can be used to restrict the results in the table to display only ongoing or active drug assessments versus only completed drug assessments. The filter can also be used to restrict the results in the table according to the type of impacts posted for that drug assessment. As we just discussed, impacts of drug assessments can be summarized to if the following are available: analytic programming code, detailed results reports, associated presentations or publications, or regulatory outcomes, such as drug safety communications or labeling changes where Sentinel drug assessments contributed to an FDA decision. The filter can also be used to restrict by purpose. Let's zoom out to see all the options. Drug and outcome analysis are safety-related analyses that evaluate the association between a drug or population and a potential safety concern. Drug use are safety-related analyses that characterize patterns of use of a drug or population. Other regulatory are other analyses that are not safety-related analyses but do inform regulatory decisions. Methods and development are analyses that inform development of new methods and analytic approaches or otherwise support Sentinel. And finally, Mini-Sentinel are drug assessments conducted using the Mini-Sentinel pilot from 2009 to 2015. If you need further explanation on the definitions of each term, there are descriptions provided on the Drug Assessments tab above, right here. Moving back to the table, health advocates can also use the Export As function to export the entire table and view additional fields either in an Excel or a CSV file. Health advocates can use the search bar above the table to identify Sentinel studies of a particular drug or class, or a particular health outcome or condition, or a population of interest. For example, health advocates who are interested in drug studies that relate to pregnancy can type in pregnancy into the search bar and look at the results. Among the results that are returned, a user could select the row in the table for dolutegravir and exposure in pregnancy. Note that dolutegravir is simply an example, and the FDA is not highlighting this drug among other drugs for any particular objective. A summary paragraph describing the regulatory determination of this drug assessment is provided first. Below that are the impacts related to this drug assessment. For this particular assessment, that includes the detailed results report, an FDA drug safety communication where this assessment contributed information, and a presentation of the results of this assessment, in this case, at the 35th International Conference on Pharmacoepidemiology and Therapeutic Risk Management. For those interested in reviewing the detailed results of a query, you can click on the results field for dolutegravir use during pregnancy, and that will take you to a tab where under deliverables, you will see the Sentinel Modular Program Report for this assessment. Sentinel Modular Program Reports contain the output or results of the queries that are designed by FDA and conducted in Sentinel. The results in each modular program report reflect the question being asked. The general structure of the MP report includes an overview that describes the analysis, a table of contents, a glossary of terms, the series of tables containing the query results, and a series of appendices. A related resource is the Individual Drug Queries table. It is designed to support searches for a specific analysis. To access drug queries in Sentinel, first we hover over Assessments, go to Drugs, and then go to Individual Drug Queries. If we scroll down, we see a table that contains a complete list of each Sentinel query conducted from the start of Mini-Sentinel in 2009 to the present. The drug assessment table we previously viewed groups together related queries that FDA conducted to address a question and provides important background information and describes the regulatory impact. While a drug assessment can be comprised of a single query or multiple queries, depending on what information is needed to address the FDA question, the individual drug query table here is organized according to a single query. For example, health advocates interested again in pregnancy can search pregnancy in the search bar. The table will display each individual pregnancy-related drug query that has been conducted. In our prior example of dolutegravir and exposure in pregnancy in the drug assessments table, there was a single analysis conducted. Thus, when we search for this drug exposure in pregnancy in the individual drug queries table, a single study is returned. If the drug assessment for dolutegravir and exposure in pregnancy had included 3 related queries, then we would expect to see 3 rows, one for each of those queries, appear in the table. Next, we will explore methods, data, and tools. On this tab, you can find resources to better understand and use Sentinel's publicly available methods, common data model, and analytic tools. Those who are interested in detailed information, guidance, and code should visit the links on this tab to the Sentinel developers website right here. Now let's scroll down. In brief, Sentinel develops and applies routine querying tools, which are SAS programs, designed to run against healthcare data that are formatted to the Sentinel Common Data Model, which is standardized structure used across all data partners. FDA will work with the Sentinel Operations Center, SOC, to design a query, which is translated to a SAS program and sent to each data partner. The aggregate results with patient identifiers removed are then sent from the data partner to SOC to protect patient privacy. SOC aggregates results across the data partners and sends the results in a report to FDA. Scrolling further down, Sentinel's data quality review and characterization programs checks data quality for compliance, consistency, and validity to help researchers understand the quality in Sentinel's data before being used for public health safety surveillance. Now let's look at Sentinel's news and events. News and events provides resources for stakeholders to stay up to date with Sentinel's recent activities. Here, health advocates can register for upcoming events, such as the Sentinel public workshops and trainings, and view recordings of previous events. A recording of this webinar will be accessible here shortly. There are also summaries provided for Sentinel analyses that contributed to FDA safety communications, labeling changes, and FDA advisory committee meetings. A full list of publications and presentations based on Sentinel analyses are also accessible from here. Now let's navigate to publications and presentations. Sentinel is committed to publishing findings in peer-reviewed journals and sharing information from scientific conferences and other events. This can include analyses that focus on drug safety assessments, as well as activities that focus on advancing Sentinel's infrastructure, tools, and methods. Scrolling down, advocates can utilize the search bar to find any related publications or presentations on their particular subjects of interest. Following the same example as before, you can type pregnancy into the search bar and it will display all pregnancy presentations and publications. In our prior example of dolutegravir and exposure in pregnancy in the drug assessments table, there was one single associated presentation. Thus, when we search for pregnancy and dolutegravir in the publications and presentations table, one search result is returned. This is a presentation. Another resource is a dedicated tab that describes FDA drug safety communications and labeling changes that have been informed by drug safety assessments conducted in Sentinel. You can click on FDA safety communications and labeling changes under the News and Events tab to access the page. Now let's click on Engage with Sentinel. Engage with Sentinel is a new feature that is designed to promote communication awareness among the Sentinel community. On this tab, you can navigate to the Sentinel Training Center, which contains a variety of videos and associated training materials, which are organized around selected themes and topic areas. The full archive of past meetings, workshops, and trainings can also be searched. There is also a quarterly newsletter tab. You can view Sentinel's latest newsletter and subscribe to future newsletters to receive information about the latest Sentinel updates, assessment results, event information, and changes to the Sentinel system. Thank you for tuning in to this website demonstration, and we hope you now feel equipped to navigate the Sentinel website to expand your understanding of Sentinel and engage with Sentinel stakeholders.
Thank you for walking us through that demonstration. We are now going to jump into our last fact versus myth. Sentinel has been used to study COVID-19. Is a fact or a myth? Correct, it is a fact. You can find Sentinel's COVID-19 related activities under the Assessments tab on the Sentinel website. We've highlighted the Sentinel system and its key components such as data partners, routine query tools, common data model, and advanced quality assurance process. We've discussed how Sentinel protects health data using a distributed approach. Data partners run data programs at their site and send de-identified results to the Sentinel Operations Center. Lastly, we've demonstrated how to leverage resources on the Sentinel website to find the latest drug assessments and associated publications and presentations, along with contributions of Sentinel analyses to FDA regulatory actions. We're always looking to improve our training and communication. Please share your experience and feedback with us so we can improve the next webinar through the open-ended evaluation question that will be sent after today's webinar. You can inform us if you found the webinar to be informative and engaging, and if there are any topics you would like us to consider in the future. In order to continue expanding your awareness of Sentinel, we encourage you to get engaged by visiting the Sentinel website. There you can subscribe to the quarterly newsletter to stay informed on Sentinel program updates, analyses, and method and event information, view trainings on Sentinel data, tools, and other infrastructure and methods, and subscribe to the RSS feed to stay informed on updates made to the Sentinel website. Now, we'll open the floor up for questions and answers. If you have a question, please write them in the Q&A box below. CBOC, SOC, and the FDA will be answering your questions for the remainder of the time. And we'll wait a few moments if there's any questions.
Okay, I see we have one question come in. Is Sentinel linked to PubMed articles? I will defer to my colleagues over at FDA or SSC to answer this. Is Sentinel linked to PubMed articles?
Hi, so this is Trish Bright. So thank you very much for your questions. And thank you for attending. We appreciate it. I'm sort of the acting Sentinel lead, and I may have to defer to some of my colleagues, but what I would say is all of our publications are included in PubMed. And so I would think that it would be, but Kate, could you speak to that some more about the actual linkage? I mean, I know they end up in there, but I'm not sure about the linking mechanism.
Yeah, I'm less familiar with the linking mechanism as well. If you go to the presentations and publications table, there typically is a link that goes directly to the article or the abstract, but I'm less familiar with how that might interact with PubMed Live. But we're happy to take that question back and get a little bit of more information and provide a response to the person who asked the question.
Great, thank you. Our next question here, does it cover digital health devices and or software? Assuming it meaning Sentinel, but if I'm incorrect, please feel free to clarify through the Q&A. Does it, Sentinel, cover digital health devices and or software? Again, deferring to my colleagues at FDA.
Sure. So this Trish Bright again is sort of acting Sentinel lead, and I may have to sort of call on my other colleagues here. So there's a different center within FDA, which is for devices, and I think most of that information would land with them, as opposed to us, where we look over medications. But I don't know if Christine or Kate, you know, there are some medications that sort of straddle the divide, and I don't know if we are involved in those per se, or if that's completely with our CDRH colleagues, which oversee the devices.
Hi, Trish. This is Christine from SOC. I believe our focus is, as you said, on drug safety. However, I will say that there is the possibility that digital health device data would be included as part of our data partners' data, depending on if they're collecting what information they might be collecting from wearables or other software.
Thank you, Christine and Trish for that. Our next question here, who is / are paying for Sentinel? Again, going to my colleagues at FDA here.
So this is Trish, and yes, it is government money that pays for Sentinel. And why the distinction is org and not gov at the end of the website, I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody else knows that, but it is government money.
Okay. Okay. So all of the questions I see in the chat right now. Any other questions from anyone else in the webinar?
Okay, and just this is Trish again. If I just do want to thank people for attending, because I know sort of health advocates in particular are very busy during the pandemic. They're overworked, and sort of to take that extra step to kind of tune in to see what FDA is doing. And then on top of that, Sentinel is a very interesting tool that we're actively engaged in. I know it's confusing to a lot of people, so that you've taken the step to kind of tune in and see what's going on. We do appreciate it, and appreciate your questions. And if something comes up and you need to engage with Sentinel, the contact information is on the our Sentinel Initiatives webpage. So thank you.
Yes, and to echo that, thank you all for joining today's webinar. We hope you have a better understanding on how to use the Sentinel website as a health advocate. This recording will be placed on the Sentinel Training Center tab on the Sentinel website and on our YouTube channel. We hope to hear from you soon.